Once upon a time, in one of New York City's most prestigious suburbs, where mansions lined the streets, luxury cars filled the driveways, and exclusivity was a way of life, Ziggy's story was different. The neighborhood, known for its old money elite, powerful corporate executives, and international celebrities, was built on generations of inherited success. This was a place where success was expected rather than earned, where family names carried more influence than talent, and where people belonged by birthright rather than merit. Yet, in the middle of it all, the Thompsons had built a life not through inheritance, but through sheer determination, sacrifice, and an unbreakable work ethic. Ziggy's parents, Jamaican immigrants, had arrived in the United States with little money but boundless ambition. They had come from Montego Bay, leaving behind the golden beaches, reggae rhythms, and warmth of their homeland, replacing it with the cold concrete jungle of New York. Their dream was simple yet profound: to provide their children with a life they never had, to carve out a space for themselves in a society that was not built for their success. The early years had been brutal: long hours of work, nights filled with exhaustion, and an uphill battle against a world that often sought to undermine their presence rather than embrace it. Ziggy's father had started as a construction worker, taking on back-breaking labor to provide for his family. But he refused to be confined to the role of a laborer, working tirelessly until he owned his own construction firm. Over the years, he built not just homes, but a reputation, earning million-dollar contracts to construct the very mansions that lined the streets of their new neighborhood. His mother, a highly skilled nurse practitioner, fought her way through racism, classism, and skepticism in the medical field, proving that her intelligence and dedication were undeniable. Through years of sacrifice, they had done what many thought was impossible. They had broken into a world that was designed to keep them out. Despite their success, life in an elite suburb was far from easy. The Thompsons were financially secure, but socially, they were outsiders. Ziggy had grown up surrounded by privilege that was not his own, navigating a world that was simultaneously admiring and dismissive of his presence. Attending prestigious private schools, training at exclusive country clubs, and sitting in rooms where decisions worth millions were made, Ziggy was always aware that he was different. He was not just a child of wealth, but a child of struggle, resilience, and ambition. His parents had ensured that he understood the depth of their sacrifices. They never allowed him to forget where he came from, what they had endured, and what it meant to be a black family in a neighborhood where power had always rested in the hands of a privileged few. They taught him that money was not a shield against prejudice, nor was it a guarantee of respect. If he wanted to truly belong, he would have to earn it, not through status, but through impact. Unlike many of his peers, whose futures had been preordained by family legacies, Ziggy had to carve out his own path. The children of Wall Street executives, politicians, and real estate moguls had their futures mapped out long before they even finished high school. They were expected to inherit their family businesses, step into political power, or become leaders in corporate America. Success for them was not a goal, but a birthright. Ziggy, on the other hand, had no safety net, no inheritance, and no guaranteed position waiting for him. What he did have was a mind sharpened by discipline, a body built for athletic excellence, and a passion for movement that set him apart. While many assumed he would become a professional athlete, given his speed, strength, and agility, Ziggy had other plans. From an early age, Ziggy was drawn to sports and fitness, excelling in basketball, track and field, and football. He was the kind of athlete that coaches fought over, the kind that scouts noticed before he even stepped onto the field. His natural talent for sports made many assume that his only path to success was through a professional sports career. But Ziggy was not just an athlete. He was a student of the human body, fascinated by the science of movement, the mechanics of performance, and the process of injury recovery. At one of New York's top preparatory schools, Ziggy discovered his love for kinesiology, biomechanics, and sports science. He became obsessed with understanding how the human body functioned, spending hours studying how muscles worked, how injuries happened, and how they could be prevented. While others trained purely for competition, he trained for knowledge, analyzing how subtle shifts in posture, balance, and mechanics could enhance athletic performance and prevent career-ending injuries. Ziggy's curiosity intensified when he saw promising athletes suffer preventable injuries. Some never recovered, not because they lacked resilience, but because they lacked the right rehabilitation strategies. He realized that sports culture emphasized peak performance, but ignored long-term health. There was a missing link between fitness and recovery, between strength and sustainability, and Ziggy knew he wanted to bridge that gap. While many of his peers chased scholarships based on their athletic ability, Ziggy had different aspirations. He had no desire to pursue professional sports solely for the sake of fame or fortune. Instead, he wanted to combine his athletic background with medical knowledge, creating a career that would allow him to help others move better, recover faster, and train smarter. When it came time for college applications, Ziggy's decision shocked many. He turned down offers from top athletic programs to instead pursue a degree in physiotherapy at New York University, NYU. Some questioned why he would walk away from a potential professional sports career. But Ziggy understood something they didn't. He was playing the long game. While they were focused on the next 10 years, he was focused on the next 50. He was not just training for personal gain. He was preparing to revolutionize the way people trained, recovered, and performed. At New York University, Ziggy threw himself into his studies with the same intensity that he once brought to the basketball court and the track field. He mastered subjects like biomechanics, rehabilitation science, and injury prevention, gaining hands-on experience through internships at top physiotherapy clinics and fitness centers across New York City. As he worked with athletes recovering from injuries, elderly patients regaining mobility, and everyday people struggling with chronic pain, his vision became clearer. He realized that most fitness centers focused only on aesthetics, neglecting the importance of sustainable movement and injury prevention. He saw that rehabilitation was often treated as an afterthought, rather than a foundational principle of training. That was when his vision took shape. He would create something that had never been done before. A place where elite athletes, weekend warriors, and people recovering from injuries could train and heal under one roof. A gym that was not just about building muscle, but about building resilience. And so, Ziggy set out on a mission, not just to build a successful business, but to change the way people thought about movement, recovery, and fitness. Ziggy's years at New York University, NYU, were some of the most challenging yet transformative of his life. The academic workload was relentless, and the competition was fierce. His courses in biomechanics, injury rehabilitation, movement science, and sports therapy demanded absolute focus. While some of his classmates came from families of doctors, researchers, and medical professionals, Ziggy had to prove himself purely through his work ethic and ability to absorb complex medical concepts while applying them practically. Unlike many students who could afford to study full-time without worrying about finances, Ziggy had to juggle multiple responsibilities. His parents had worked hard to ensure he had access to an elite education, but he refused to place additional financial strain on them. To support himself, he took part-time jobs at physiotherapy clinics, fitness centers, and sports rehabilitation facilities across the city. These jobs weren't just about earning money. They were an extension of his education. He used every opportunity to apply what he learned in real-world settings, working with clients recovering from surgeries, athletes rebuilding their strength, and elderly individuals trying to regain mobility. Through these experiences, Ziggy quickly noticed a pattern in the fitness industry, a critical gap between performance training and injury prevention. He saw how countless people, from amateur fitness enthusiasts to professional athletes, trained their bodies without any guidance on how to protect themselves from long-term damage. Most gyms focused solely on aesthetics, pushing extreme weightlifting and endurance exercises without prioritizing movement efficiency or joint health. He encountered clients who had suffered chronic pain, unnecessary surgeries, and permanent injuries, all of which could have been avoided with proper training and physiotherapy support. Ziggy knew he had discovered his life's purpose. He didn't just want to work in rehabilitation. He wanted to bridge the gap between physiotherapy and fitness, creating a training system that combined injury prevention, strength conditioning, and long-term wellness strategies. He envisioned a place where clients could move smarter, train effectively, and recover faster, without waiting for an injury to force them into rehabilitation. Graduating with honors, Ziggy emerged as a standout in his field. He had not only built a reputation as a brilliant physiotherapist, but had also established strong relationships with top trainers, sports teams, and medical professionals across New York City. But instead of pursuing a traditional career at a high-end clinic or working for a sports team, Ziggy had bigger plans. With his degree in hand, he set his sights on an even greater challenge: building a gym that would redefine what fitness and rehabilitation meant in an industry that had long prioritized aesthetics over sustainability. Ziggy's dream was ambitious. Opening a state-of-the-art gym in one of New York City's most exclusive suburbs required more than just vision. It demanded capital, real estate connections, and a network of high-profile clients who would trust his expertise. The fitness industry was already oversaturated with luxury gyms, boutique fitness studios, and exclusive personal training centers, all catering to the wealthy elite who expected nothing but the best. To succeed in this competitive environment, Ziggy had to offer something truly unique. With every dollar he had saved from years of working and investing, Ziggy began the process of securing a prime location for his gym. Unlike traditional gyms filled with endless rows of treadmills and weight machines, his facility would be a hybrid of strength training, physiotherapy, and injury prevention programs. It would feature state-of-the-art strength training equipment tailored for functional movement and longevity, on-site physiotherapy and rehabilitation rooms offering personalized recovery programs, hydrotherapy pools and cryotherapy stations to aid in faster muscle recovery, customized training programs designed to prevent injuries before they happen, a luxury wellness lounge providing massage therapy, stretching clinics, and nutrition coaching. Unlike most fitness centers that prioritized rapid weight loss and high-intensity workouts, Ziggy's gym was built for sustainable strength and pain-free movement. He wanted to work with athletes, high-performing executives, aging clients, and weekend warriors, anyone who was serious about their long-term health. His biggest challenge was securing funding and clientele. Although he had made a name for himself through his internships and physiotherapy work, convincing wealthy investors and high-profile clients to trust a young black entrepreneur in a predominantly white industry was not easy. Many doubted his vision, assuming he was just another ex-athlete trying to start a gym. But Ziggy refused to be discouraged. He leveraged every connection he had, networking with former teammates, physicians, and high-net-worth clients he had worked with during his training years. He built his brand through word-of-mouth recommendations, and within a year, his facility was fully funded and ready to launch. On the opening day of Thompson Performance and Rehabilitation, Ziggy stood at the entrance, taking in the sight of a dream turned reality. The doors opened, and within weeks the gym was filled with elite athletes, top executives, and fitness enthusiasts seeking an experience they couldn't find anywhere else. Ziggy had not only built a gym, he had built a movement. As Ziggy's gym gained traction, his reputation exploded. Clients raved about his innovative training programs, and top athletes sought his expertise. Even executives who had never considered physiotherapy began to see the value in injury prevention and mobility training. His gym became a staple in the high-end fitness industry, attracting partnerships with health brands, sports teams, and corporate wellness programs. His philosophy was clear: movement is medicine, and longevity should be the goal of every training regimen. He rejected the toxic culture of pushing the body to its limits without proper recovery, instead emphasizing smart, sustainable training methods that would allow clients to stay active well into their later years. With success came expansion opportunities. Ziggy began working with top medical professionals, investing in new technology, and developing virtual training programs for clients who couldn't physically attend his gym. His brand reached beyond New York, with celebrities and high-net-worth individuals flying in to train under his guidance. But Ziggy never lost sight of his purpose. He continued to host free community workshops, educating underprivileged youth on the importance of health, fitness, and injury prevention. He worked with local schools to implement movement-based programs, ensuring that children were being taught proper training techniques from an early age. His success was proof that he had not only broken into a world that wasn't designed for him, but he had changed it from within. Years after opening his first gym, Ziggy stood as a titan in the fitness and rehabilitation industry. He had built an empire, but more importantly, he had built a legacy. His name was synonymous with elite performance, movement longevity, and injury-free training. His influence extended far beyond the exclusive suburb where his journey began. He was a mentor, an educator, and a visionary. His work was featured in medical journals, fitness publications, and business magazines, celebrating his role in revolutionizing the industry. But despite all his accomplishments, Ziggy remained true to his roots. Every year, he hosted a Jamaican cultural wellness event, bringing together music, fitness, and education, celebrating where he came from while inspiring the next generation. In the same suburb where he once felt like an outsider, Ziggy had not only found his place, he had created it. He had turned passion into purpose, struggle into strength, and ambition into action. And as he looked ahead, he knew this was just the beginning. His story would inspire generations to come, a reminder that success is not just about where you start, but how far you're willing to go.